guys, it's Reagan, and as you'll notice, this is my room background because I'm home for the holidays. That's a holiday dance. Anyway, today I'm here to bring you another tag, and that is the How I Read tag. Yes, and this tag was created by Anya's Corner, and I will link her video down below, and I was tagged by Ermaged Burks. That username is always so much fun to say. But before I get started, I'm going to give someone a shout out. Because, though, I realized this person didn't ask me to shout them out at all. But I was like, well, I'll help a brother out. And I'm going to shout out Jeff from Ermaged Burks. And I'll just say that, Jeff, if you're watching this, I have absolutely no idea. I like when you're on videos because you read adult fantasy. I love adult fantasy, and no one really here on the booktubers I watch reads a lot of adult fantasy. Speaking of which, viewers, if you know booktubers who reads a lot of adult fantasy, leave them down below. Thank you. Anyway, so shout out over. Okay, let's get on with the tag. Question 1 is, how do you find out about new books to read? And I find out a lot of books on Booktube, but sometimes Goodreads, but honestly I have this weird thing where I go on Amazon and I'll like type in a book I really liked, and then I go look at the thing the other people have bought books, and I just literally just click until I'm like, oh, that looks interesting, I'll buy that. That looks interesting, I'll buy that. So it's either that sort of really tedious and random process of Amazon shopping, but mostly Booktube, because, I don't know, I'm on here, people talk about books, and then when people love a book, it's hard not to want to read the book that they loved, you know. Question 2 is, how did you get into reading? And I have always been into reading. I've literally can't remember when I was not reading. As a child, I read, Series of Unfortunate Events, Harry Potter. Middle school, I read Twilight. It's been a continuum of reading. So, yeah. And I would say I got into it from my parents. My mom's a really big reader, and so is my brother. I distinctly remember my brother reading. He's older than me. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. I want to be better than him at reading, so I guess that's how I got into reading. Question 3 is, how has your taste in books, progressed as you've gotten older? Not a lot. I'm actually currently rereading A Series of Unfortunate Events as I read as a child. And as a child, I always loved fantasy, I guess kind of dystopian. I read, it's like those Badger fantasy books by, I don't remember who they're by, but they're like animals and they're like in a fantasy. They're like badgers, like Redwall. I don't know. I don't remember what that is. I also really liked Harry Potter and A Wrinkle in Time series and The Giver. I don't know, I read a lot of fantasy science fiction as a child, and I read that mostly now, so it hasn't changed that much. I mean, I've progressed more to adult books, but generally the genre hasn't changed. Question 4 is, how often do you buy books? And too often for one thing, but usually I normally do either 2 small purchases a month or a medium-sized purchase every month. Besides this month, I've gotten a little crazy, and next month I know I'll also go a little crazy. But usually that's what I like to keep it to. Question 5 is, how did you get into booktubing? And I honestly stumbled upon it. I was really, for a couple years, I've been watching a lot of beauty gurus, and then one day, just from random clicking, I stumbled upon, oh no, it was, so I did a lot of beauty gurus, but then one day, Clockwork Princess was about to come out, and I read Clockwork Prince a long time ago. So I was like, well, maybe someone did a review because that's a pretty popular book. And then I watched Price's Wong. She was the very first person I watched. And then I just kind of fell in love with the whole thing. Watched a whole bunch of people. Literally after Price's Wong, I feel I just started watching everyone because it was just booktube. And then one day I was like, you know what? I like books and I like talking to people about books. Let's make a booktube channel. So then I did. Question 6 is, how do you react when you don't like an end of a book? Usually I get really mad. And the thing is, though, it's very rare when I don't like the end of a book, because I'm all about author's intent, and if you kill off people, that doesn't necessarily bother me as long as it makes sense and author's intent is there. But sometimes it really mostly bothers me when it's a classic, or something's deemed it's a literary classic. Someone's like, oh, this is transcends all literature, and then you read it and you're just sort of like, did something happen? And normally when you're reading that book, you're like waiting for the ending to maybe like blow your mind, and then it doesn't happen. My example of this is Dr. Zhivago by Boris Pasternak. I didn't like that book very much. I found it to be overhyped in a whole bunch. That's gonna be an entirely different rant video. But like, I just was reading this book and I was waiting for it to just like knock my socks off. And it had moments, mind you. It had some really nice moments. But the ending of that book was just like why did I read this 500-page book? I can't tell you why, because I still don't know. Question 7 is, how often do you take a sneaky look at the last page of a book? And I never do that. That is book sacrilege. Like, no. I never do that. I'm trying not to judge people who do that, but that is wrong. Why would you want to spoil the whole book for yourself? What is the point? What is the point, people? Question 8 is, how many people are you going to tag and who are they? I should have thought about this, but I didn't. Oh no. Dang it, who am I going to tag? So yeah, I'm going to tag a book affair, who I love, watch, and then Marlene. I just really like Marlene. If you ever remember Marlene, I don't know, she's so cool. I don't know, she's just, I don't know, I feel like I want to be your friend and get like coffee with her. And then I'm also gonna tag the 8th Potter, because why not? I've never tagged you before. Okay guys, I hope you have a lovely holiday tomorrow if you're in America, or if you're not in America, have a lovely Thursday. Why not? Why not? Just have a lovely day, everyone. Okay, bye.